What if Nikon's most significant camera heading into 2026 is one that hasn't been released yet? Nearly a decade after the D500 set new standards for professional APS-C cameras, Nikon has yet to introduce a true mirrorless successor, a flagship DX body, or in-body stabilization IBIS, leaving many wondering about the company's direction. If the Z90 is indeed in the works, it has the potential to reshape Nikon's entire system. However, if it's not forthcoming, the continued silence is telling. The key question isn't just when the Nikon Z90 will be launched, but rather why it hasn't been launched yet. Is Nikon focusing on protecting its full-frame lineup? Or is there uncertainty about the future of APS-C cameras? Let's find out. When the Nikon D500 launched in January 2016, it redefined what APS-C could be. It wasn't marketed as good for the price or almost professional. It was professional. Fast autofocus, deep buffer, rugged build, and reliability made it a favorite among wildlife and sports shooters. Many of those cameras are still in daily use today, nearly 10 years later. When Nikon discontinued the D500 in January 2022, the assumption was simple. Mirrorless would take over, but Nikon never replaced the role the D500 played. Full-frame Z cameras filled other gaps, but none addressed the need for a fast, crop-sensor, action-focused workhorse. That unresolved gap is the foundation of the Z90 rumor. One of the more interesting leaks over the past year is that Nikon has tested multiple DX sensor configurations internally. Early chatter about global shutter testing caused excitement, but that idea quickly cooled. Global shutter sensors are expensive, complex, and still involve compromises in dynamic range and noise performance. Multiple industry voices now agree Nikon will not introduce global shutter in APS-C first. Instead, the most realistic and consistent information points to partially stacked or fast readout CMOS sensors, likely in the 26 to 32 megapixel range. This approach allows Nikon to reduce rolling shutter, support high burst rates, and enable better video readout without the extreme cost of global shutter technology. Look at Nikon's APS-C Z lineup today: Z30, ZFC, Z50, Z52. All of them are competent. None of them are ambitious. No weather-sealed pro body, no top-tier autofocus tuning, no dual high-speed cards, and most importantly, no IBIS in any DX-Z camera. This isn't a limitation of engineering. Nikon has IBIS figured out. This is a conscious segmentation decision. APS-C, at least publicly, has been positioned as entry-level or lifestyle-focused. And that decision alone explains why enthusiasts keep asking, is Nikon done with serious DX cameras? Unlike many rumor cameras that appear due to leaked registrations or accidental disclosures, the Nikon Z90 exists because of logic. Canon launched the EOS R7 in 2022 and immediately claimed the APS-C flagship crown. Sony never abandoned APS-C performance bodies. Fujifilm built its entire ecosystem around the format. Nikon alone stepped back. That absence created a vacuum, and the Z90 became the name attached to it. Whether Nikon ever officially planned a Z90 is almost irrelevant. The market created the expectation. If the Z90 exists, it is not designed to chase resolution records. It is designed to chase responsiveness. A sensor in the high 20 megapixel range is ideal for wildlife and sports, offering enough detail for cropping while keeping file sizes manageable and readout speeds high. Rumored burst rates range between 15 and 20 frames per second, possibly higher with electronic shutter. But Nikon users know the real story isn't frame rate, it's buffer depth. To live up to the D500 legacy, the Z90 would need sustained performance, not just short bursts. That's why CF Express Type B support keeps coming up in discussions. A flagship DX body without CF Express would feel incomplete in 2026. More than any single feature, the rumored next-generation EXPEED processor may define the Z90. Modern autofocus systems are processor-dependent. Subject recognition, eye detection, bird tracking, and predictive AF all rely on computing power more than sensor resolution. Nikon's recent FX cameras show that EXPEED has evolved significantly. Bringing that processing power to APS-C would instantly elevate the entire DX lineup, and that may be exactly why Nikon is cautious. There is no room for good enough autofocus anymore. Canon's EOS R7 already delivers advanced subject detection and reliable tracking. Sony's APS-C bodies are known for AF consistency. If the Z90 launches without best-in-class autofocus, it will fail regardless of other specs. Rumors suggest Nikon has been specifically testing bird-eye AF improvements and fast subject reacquisition, areas where D500 users were particularly demanding. If true, this reinforces the idea that the Z90 is designed with wildlife shooters in mind. APS-C has become a sweet spot for hybrid creators. Rumors suggest Nikon has been testing 4K at 60py pipelines with minimal crop, along with high frame rate Full HD modes. Heat management has reportedly been a major focus, indicating Nikon wants sustained video performance rather than headline specs. Internal 10-bit recording remains uncertain, but clean HDMI output and improved codecs are widely expected if the Z90 is meant to compete seriously. A strong Z90 would challenge Nikon's own product hierarchy. It could reduce the need for full frame for many users. Smaller kits, lower costs, and better reach are compelling advantages. From a business standpoint, the Z90 isn't just a product, it's a potential internal disruptor. At this stage, the Z90 feels less like a canceled project and more like an unresolved internal debate. Prototypes may exist. Sensor testing has likely happened. But final approval requires Nikon to answer a difficult question. Do we still believe in professional APS-C? A safe, conservative Z90 would be worse than no Z90 at all. This camera would need to feel intentional, confident, and unapologetically professional. Otherwise, it risks disappointing the very audience that kept the idea alive. Thank you for tuning in. As we move into 2026, the Nikon Z90 is no longer just a rumored camera. It's a question Nikon hasn't answered yet. A question about format, philosophy, and future direction. And until Nikon answers it officially, the Z90 will continue to exist exactly where it does now. In conversations, expectations, and unfinished chapters of Nikon's history. We want to hear from you. Do you think Nikon will finally release the Z90 in 2026? Or is APS-C losing its place in the lineup? Share your thoughts, predictions, and dream features below. Which rumored spec excites you the most about the Z90?